everybody, and welcome to Suburban Parents Talk. I am Jen Cox, and today it is just me, myself, and I. It's bound to happen with a panel of moms. My co hosts Angie and Sarah were busy today. Angie pre recorded a great interview that we're going to air a little bit later into the episode, but you've only got me today, folks, so let's get started. We are going to start with our mom rant. Um, this seems to be something that we've brought up a lot of times, and it's brought up constantly on social media. It's the mom shaming that I see on social media. So I think that mom groups on Facebook are extremely helpful. When my 8-year-old son was little, even now, I often go to mom groups to get feedback on different things, or if I have questions, or I'm looking for local resources. And it's just incredible to me that a mom will reach out with a question and other moms will take it as an opportunity to sort of voice their own personal opinion about how they feel about it. So if a mom's asking a question about formula, somebody will pipe in and ask why they're not breastfeeding. And it's just so frustrating as a woman, as a mom, somebody that I always try to offer support and lift my fellow moms up. And sometimes parents are having a hard time. And if they're turning to one of these message boards, it must be because they're seeking out some helpful advice or information. And it just breaks my heart when people use it as an opportunity to sort of vent or voice their own personal opinion on the matter. So I just like to put it out there that we should take the time to be kind to one another, especially the parents, and to just try to offer as much support and help when people ask instead of jumping all over them and sort of airing out your frustrations or your personal opinion. So that is my mom rant for today. So next up, we have an amazing contest. We're very excited. We have the Beauty of Eczema. They make an incredible line of products that are good for all skin types, but work very well for people that also have sensitive skin. They're putting together this great gift package for one lucky viewer of Suburban Parents Talk today. So our question, and you're going to post your answer in the comments. Our question today is, what skin type are you, or do you even know? I think a lot of women look for products that they think smell nice or tout certain ingredients, but really certain products work well with dry skin or oily skin. And so type below, what is your skin type? We will pick the name of one lucky winner, and they will receive a gift basket from the Beauty of Eczema. So big thank you to that company for donating our prize. Okay, so right now we have an interview that Angie did with a woman named Samantha. Samantha had some certain mental health challenges and went to social media to offer support and share her story and ended up gaining a huge following. So Angie sat down with Samantha and did this interview.
Hi, Samantha. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So, hi, everyone. My name is Angie, and I'm here with Samantha Couchy. And Samantha has been a friend of mine for several years now. And over the years, it's been, I've been able to watch her grow and become a mental health advocate across so many different social media platforms. And I'm actually quite proud of you of how you've like I've seen your growth. I've seen like how well spoken you are and how much you really care about this community.
Thank
So
you.
so thank you for coming and talking with me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. This is something I'm very passionate about, so I'm very blessed for this opportunity.
Yeah. And you know what? I feel like you're doing really a great service to the community and to society at large, just talking about it. So if you can tell me what made you want to talk about your personal experience with mental health and anxiety and tell me a little bit about that.
Right. So I started about 2016. So about 6 years ago, I started sharing my story just because I feel like it helped me in my process too, because I do struggle with anxiety. And I found that in talking about it, it helped me heal. Part of my healing process has been talking with a therapist in addition to that. And I wanted to reach out to people who needed help. I mean, I'm by far no, like, I'm not a therapist. I'm not like, I'm not a professional in the field for sure, but I have been through it and I've currently going through it. So I felt like in sharing, it could help so many people. And maybe they won't, one, feel alone, two, feel the need to talk to me and be okay with it and just keep the conversation going. And if they wanted to reach out, they had that option. I gave them that option, that outlook.
That's amazing. And in our segment today, I believe when we're airing this, we're also going to be speaking to other people regarding mental health. And I think it's going to be with adolescents. So I'd love to hear your perspective now that you're an adult
Yep.
and the anxiety and the struggles perhaps haven't started just when you reached adulthood. They may have started when
Right.
you were younger. So can you give us a perspective on that? Like what were your experiences?
So I like being in therapy, like you make the past connections and connections to childhood. So when I was around 8 to 9 years old, I had frequent stomach aches and I didn't know why at the time. I was only 8. Looking back now, because my therapist helped me link it to that time because I was getting bullied. So that was a difficult time for me. And as a young child, being able to navigate all these emotions, like my stomach, I just remember my stomach constantly hurting, like daily. And linking back, I figured out it was actually anxiety. My therapist told me that years and years later. So that was interesting to know.
And it's like my son is 4.5, and it's crazy to me to even fathom that it's possible when he gets a little bit older, maybe not even at 8 years old, maybe sooner, that the anxiety that he may be experiencing will manifest itself into physical ailments.
Right.
So as a parent, what would you recommend for parents to look out for to see, like, is it just a stomach ache or could it be something else?
Um,
What are your
So it
recommendations?
could be a wide variety of different symptoms. Like for me, it was stomach aches, but I've also read online that it could also be like loss of appetite and not just like the frequent, like, oh, I'm not hungry or this and that. Like literally, like frequently, stomach aches, heart palpitations. So, and obviously that's hard to see. So, my biggest suggestion is to just tell your child, like, whatever you're feeling, come to me. Like, whether it's like your heart beating fast or like you could even describe the symptoms. They're very smart. They understand what their body is doing. So just like having that open dialogue with them, like, come to me. It's okay. It's okay to feel this way. And you could even describe it. And there's so many tools out there right now that you can actually use to help your child as well navigate through that time.
Yeah, it's so important for parents to have that open, that comfortable and open policy to talk
Exactly,
to
and
the children.
it's hard as the symptoms as children because 'cause they're very different from adults. There's some of them that are very similar, but
Mhm.
it's hard for kids to express it because they don't know themselves what they're going through, and that was a situation with me. I didn't know why my stomach was always hurting, and, I didn't wanna go to school and all these things, and it's because of my anxiety. I had so much anxiety built up in me, and I didn't share it because I was kind of like, "Okay, I guess it's normal, my stomach's just hurting," but it was, like, every single day, and just having that open dialogue with the people in your life, I think is super important.
Absolutely. And as you grew older, did it become something different? Did it remain stomach aches as you
It
continued
remains
through?
stomach aches, heart palpitations were added to it. It got worse in 2011, and that was my like breaking point, and that's when I knew that I needed additional help to the help I was not getting at the time. So yeah, it did manifest into more like heart palpitations, stomach aches. I would get very shaky and my hands would start shaking. Things like that, like racing thoughts. The racing thoughts were pretty permanent in every single anxiety episodes I've had. So they did like transfer into different symptoms throughout time. They did.
And how did you cope with it as a teenager? Or if you didn't cope with it, what could you recommend that teenagers today? I mean, COVID has played a huge role in
Oh yeah.
increasing anxiety, right? Like this is
Right.
the first time we've heard this, right? But what would
Absolutely.
you what would you say, like looking back saying, oh, I could have done that differently? or, oh, they could have done this differently for me to help me cope? What are recommendations for yourself or for others?
Right, so for myself, I would definitely say reach out to people because I kept it a lot to myself, because I was just, like, shamed and embarrassed, and I don't know why. I'm still trying to figure out why I was so shamed. I guess maybe my age, like, my immaturity at the time. So just, like, talk to somebody you trust about it and just don't feel ashamed or embarrassed.
Mhm.
I think, like, society doesn't help with that. Sometimes it's like, okay, you have to be the picture perfect person and, like, "Oh, no, like, why am I having these issues?" And you start asking these questions to yourself. But I think looking back, it's good to talk about it, and even that's my advice to people too, tell somebody you trust. It's okay not to be okay. And, it's taken me a long time to realize that, and I don't have to be the picture perfect person. So I think just reaching out, like, to people who've been through it. Like I said, I'm no professional, but talking to someone who knows what you're going through is so helpful because you're like, "Wow, I'm literally not alone."
Yeah. So the biggest thing is having that trustworthy person. As a child, as an adolescent, you
Right,
need that one person. Did
right.
you?
Teacher, friend, parent, any person that's in that child's life that they can trust without judgment.
Yeah. So just talk about it. Like that's
Yeah,
that's our theme. Talk about it. And I think with
yeah,
all the companies that are jumping on this, like mental health cannot just remain a buzzword. Mental health has to be a movement.
right.
So slowly, people are putting actions into their words.
Yes.
So that's incredible. It helps the future generations. Samantha, do you have any final thoughts or anything that anything you want to leave us with? Like, was there anything super helpful that somebody did that really stood out, or is there something that, like, what, I did this and the outcome was so much better? I don't know. Is there?
Yeah. So self-care for sure is something that I've come to think that I actually deserve because for a long time I'm like, yeah, but there's so much judgment and like people saying, oh, you're spoiled, you're this, you're going for a massage every month, this, that. But self-care is so important. Even just going for me, it's going for a walk, getting a massage done every once in a while, taking the time to take a bath alone with, just the water running. I think it's important to take care of ourselves because we can't pour from an empty cup. As much as we like to think we're superheroes, sometimes our cape has to come off and we have to say we're still human. It's okay to have emotions. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to have an off day, but reach out. If you know that there's something off, reach out and find that trusted person and then try to get those resources so you can find the help because a lot of times people will ask me like, hey, like, where can I go for this, because they don't know. There needs to be more resources out there and more help for people to for places to go that people actually know and that it's like common, because I get that question often asked, and because it isn't very much so available, and I think it needs to be more available to the general public on where to go for help, what number to call if we're in a crisis, all those things that are super super important that I think that would help the movement 100%.
Yeah, maybe you can send me that at the end of our talk so that we can link it to this video so
Absolutely,
that people can have it accessible. Thank you so much. So if
absolutely.
people want to watch you, because you are very, very prominent on
Outspoken.
social media across different
Yeah,
social media platforms. So
yeah.
if people want to find you, where can we find you and your positive messages?
Basically, my full name is all my handles, like, on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, so just Samantha Couchy, together, and you will find, me there, and I do have private accounts, but my messages, like I tell people, are always open, just for the sole fact of I don't care who you are and, like, what time it is, what I don't care if we don't even know each other. If you wanna reach out and talk and vent to me, I'm there. So it's always my messages are always open, and that's something I stress a lot.
Amazing. Samantha, thank you so much. I really
No
appreciate it.
problem.
I hope a lot of people, I hope everybody that listens to this knows that, if you're struggling with anxiety or any type of mental health obstacle, there's always resources, there's always people to talk to, and there's always an open ear. You just gotta maybe
Yes.
look for it.
And it will get better. and I want to end off with that. Like, it will get better. Sometimes you don't feel that in the moment.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. But it does get better with help, with professional help, and with time. So you're not stuck in your feelings forever. It's just a bump in the road, and that's what I
Yeah.
just want to end off with.
Amazing advice. Somebody that's lived it. Amazing advice.
Thank
All right.
you.
Well, bye. Thank you.
Bye. Absolutely no problem.
So big thank you to Angie and Samantha for that interview. What I'd like to talk about now is I have a son who is an absolute lover of reading. I'm constantly taking pictures and posting about him reading everywhere we go, whether we're driving in the car or he wakes up on a weekend morning. He has multiple chapter books on the go all the time. And I think books and reading are something that my husband and I really tried from the very beginning with him, to instill this love for books and for stories. And so, in addition to our story time before bed, which was always part of our nighttime routine, we did go to extra lengths to kind of really bring books into his life. So he got his own library card when he was probably 3 or 4, and we had been going to the library very regularly. He was so cute. He'd go into the kids section and take off his shoes and walk around in his little socks and pick books. And we'd come home and he loved to just go through them all. And so the library was always a big part of our regular family routine. We also love bookstores, so we would always go and just peruse a bookstore on a weekend afternoon, get a little treat. Usually there's a Starbucks in the chapter, so Cameron would get a cake pop and mom would get a cappuccino, and we'd walk around and look at books, and I'd always let him pick a few. We're big on tracking progress. I think kids respond really, really well to results. And so when he was little, we built a caterpillar on his bedroom door out of circles. And every time he read a book, we added a circle. And then that way he could see this big, long caterpillar down his door and say, "Look, mommy, look at all the books I read." And so when he started chapter books about a year and a half ago, we started keeping a tally list on the side of the fridge. He just hit 95 chapter books. I mean, my husband and I constantly tell him he's probably read more books than we have in our whole lives. But everybody that comes into our kitchen asks what it is. And he's super proud to explain that those are all chapter books that he's read. And so I think that not a reward system necessarily, unless that works for your kid. Hey, whatever can get them reading. But I think just seeing their progress is really encouraging when you have a new reader. And I think that helped a lot. I also love to set up like little reading setups. So whether he got home from daycare or school and I had set up an outside library where I put, comfy outdoor cushions and a bunch of books and a snack. Or we love to go and drive down by the St. Lawrence River, and I pull up our SUV and pop the trunk, and we sit in the trunk with blankets and pillows, and we'll have lunch and read. I try to make reading really, really fun, and we have reading material all over our house. So everybody in the family has magazine subscriptions. So every month when our magazines come, we always have something to read. We usually keep those in the living room or in the bathroom near the toilet. And then Karen has a big bookshelf, and we keep, little joke books on the back of the toilet. And there's just a lot of reading material. We get the Saturday paper and do the crossword and the spot the difference and read the comics. So it's always within arm's length. He's constantly reminded that, hey, if you're bored, you could read something. I think the other last little tip I might give, one thing that really got him into it. So I had seen an interview with Billie Eilish, and she had said that when she was a kid, she had a certain bedtime, but she was allowed to stay up later as long as she was making music. So if she was practicing an instrument or singing or writing songs, she was allowed to stay up late. So that got me thinking with Cameron, what if I said, okay, bedtime is at 9 o'clock, but you can stay up later if you're reading. Well, that worked like a charm because let's be honest, any kid wants to be able to stay up later. So Cameron has a little booklet, And every single night he reads. And a lot of times we have to do the, oh, can I have 5 more minutes? I'm almost done this chapter. But you know what? I'd rather negotiate staying up later over reading than video games or television. So tell them they can stay up a bit later. Set their bedtime 15 minutes earlier, 30 minutes earlier than you would usually do it, and then give them that time to read. I guarantee your kid, just to be able to stay up later, they will read their books. They will. They will. Okay, so that is my little section on reading. We're going to conclude the episode with our usual segment, Out and About. I'm very excited because we had such a nice little glimmer of spring and warm weather recently, and it got me super excited to start planning what we're going to do this spring and what we're going to do outside and different activities like that. But one thing that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention is that the Insectarium, which is a part of Espace pour la Vie in the East End of Montreal, they've been undergoing quite a renovation, and they are reopening in about a week's time. So I'm sure it's going to be incredible after they did the Biodome. It was an amazing, amazing renovation with the Biodome. If you haven't been there, definitely go check that out. But it's such a wonderful setup out there in the East End where they have Espace pour la Vie. So you can go to the Insectarium, you can check out the planetarium, you can go to the Biodome, and then there's the botanical gardens as well. And the botanical gardens, I've mentioned in previous episodes, is absolutely fantastic, especially of little ones that like to toddle around, because you can pack up a wagon, you can bring a picnic lunch, you can let them walk, and then you can kind of pull them. There's tons of green space. And yeah, it's just a wonderful afternoon, really accessible by public transit if you don't want to deal with parking. But they also have parking too, paid parking and street parking. So yeah, get out to Espace pour la Vie this spring and summer if you can, because it's a wonderful, wonderful family place here in Montreal. So I just want to thank everybody for watching this episode of Suburban Parents Talk. Make sure that you leave in the comments below your skin type, because we're going to pick a lucky winner of our the Beauty of Eczema gift basket, which we'll be giving away shortly after the broadcast. So write your skin type in the comments below and you'll be entered to win. We will see you in 2 weeks. Hopefully you'll get a few more co-hosts out of the deal, but you'll just have to wait and see. Stay well, everybody. Bye.